guys, I'm Charlie, a Charlie book fanatic. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you the books I am planning to read in October. There are 9 books on this TBR, so there is still some room to pick out books that I haven't planned out, but these are the 9 books that I am going to read for certain. The first book I am planning on reading is Gemina, which is the second book in the Illuminae files by Amie, Kaufman and Kristoff. This book is set to come out on October 18th and is a science fiction novel. I absolutely loved the first book, Illuminae. It followed Katie and Ezra, who had to evacuate their planet and get on these spaceships because their planet was being attacked and they had just broken up actually, and they were worried about the other's safety, so they started emailing each other and found out they were safe, and the whole story basically follows them trying to get by safely and trying to find each other. I absolutely adored Illuminae. It is one of my favourite books of the entire year, and I obviously have Gemina, which I can't really talk about because spoilers, but I already have Gemina on pre-order, so I cannot wait for it to get in. And the second book I'm planning on reading is Into White by Randi. This is actually a new release from September. It came out on September 13th and is a contemporary novel that follows a black girl who wakes up one morning and she turns out to be white suddenly. And I obviously think this is going to be an exploration of racism and privilege, and I am very excited to read this because I normally don't read these types of books, and the synopsis was very short, so I don't know a whole lot about it except for the like 1 sentence, 2 sentence summary I just gave you, but it sounds very exciting and I really want to read it in October. Then I want to read Girl Man's Up by Amie Girard. This was also a September release. It was released on September 6th and I actually got an e-arc of this, but it was only a couple days before September 6th, so I didn't manage to read it in September, but I am definitely going to read it for October and review it. So this book follows a lesbian girl, I believe, and she dresses like a boy, but she gets tired of being judged because she doesn't want to be a boy, she just wants to be a girl who dresses and acts her own way. And I've also read a review, but this isn't in the synopsis, but I've read a review that this also is a depiction of teen pregnancy, so I don't see how that would play in this whole synopsis, but I am even more excited after finding that out. The next book is released from August 30th and it is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen, Glasgow. This follows a girl who spirals into depression and she starts self-harming, I believe, but I don't know anything about that except that it is an exploration of depression and the girl who starts hurting herself, and I don't think I have read anything that serious ever before. I've obviously read about depression, but I haven't read about a character actually harming herself, so I think that will be a very fascinating exploration. And I've heard a lot of great buzz about this one, so I want to read it in October. Then I want to read P.S. I Like You by Kasie West. This is Kasie West's newest release that came out back in July. I've read a couple of Kasie West books and I normally like her writing style. She isn't anything superb for me except for a science fiction novel that was Pivot Point, but her contemporary novels normally don't leave that big of an impression on me, but I really like the synopsis for this one. It follows two characters who don't know who the other is, but they write these messages on each other, to each other on a school desk. So I think it's a very interesting premise, but it's obviously going to be a really predictable love story, I guess. They will eventually meet each other and fall in love for real. Contemporary books like these are mostly very predictable, but that doesn't mean I don't like them. Then the memory book by Lara, Avery. This is a standalone that also came out last July, and this follows a girl who suffers from a disorder where she slowly loses all of her memories, and she starts writing in this notebook that she calls a memory book so she can read up when she starts losing her memories and she can remember basically. And that is the whole synopsis of this. I have read a past book by Lara Avery, which was A Million Miles Away, and I wasn't enthusiastic about A Million Miles Away at first, but throughout the book I slowly started to lose my enthusiasm about it because I felt like it wasn't as good as I thought it would be at first. But the synopsis sounds really interesting and people have been really excited about this book, so I want to give Lara Avery another chance and I really hope I will love this second book by her. Then we're on to the last 3 books, and the first one is a book I have in physical form. I actually got it just today when I'm filming this, and it is Sleeping Giants and it has the most beautiful cover, like look at it. This is the paperback copy that recently came out actually, and it is by Sylvain Neuvel. I can't pronounce that name, but this is the author. And I think it is absolutely beautiful. I saw this on Burnt Fiction, which is an amazing YouTube channel that I recently discovered, and I've been going through her videos and really enjoying them. And this follows a young girl that falls through the ground, and she falls into a mechanical hand, I believe. And then she grows up to be a scientist, and she becomes a leading world expert on the mechanical hand she discovered. I have been loving science fiction lately, and obviously this is science fiction with an absolutely amazing cover, but I really wanted to find something else science fiction-y to read, and this sounds absolutely amazing and I can't wait to read it. This is made up entirely out of interviews, which I thought was interesting because Illuminate's been made up out of documents, and I love that different kind of formatting. It really works for me. So this is one of the reads I'm definitely most excited for in October. And I definitely want to read the beautiful book We Are the Ants by Shaun David Hutchinson. This follows a guy, Henry, who is gay, and he falls in love with this guy who actually makes him believe that the world isn't as good as he thinks it is. And he gets abducted by these aliens, and he gets a choice to save the world with a push of the red button, but he doesn't know if the world is worth saving. He has to save himself first, and this is science fiction. The main character gets abducted by aliens, again, loving science fiction, and the cover is absolutely beautiful, which is what really attracted me to this book in the first place. But the synopsis sounds very interesting because of the LGBTQ+ aspect to it, but also because of being abducted by aliens and saving the world with the push of the red button and not immediately doing it. I think that is very interesting, and I think it is going to be an interesting portrayal and an interesting journey of how is the world even worth saving? Is humanity worth saving? And the last book for the Ostentatious Read Along, which is a Goodreads group where every month we read a Jane Austen novel, and in October this Austen novel is going to be a Northanger Abbey, which I obviously ordered in this beautiful Penguin Classics edition in paperback to add to my collection. I now have 4 Jane Austen books in this beautiful edition. And it is very short, which makes me really excited because it takes me so long to get through classics, and a short classic of 200 pages is a relief. I haven't watched any of the films for any of Jane Austen's books, but I eventually do want to, but I'm just not really a movie person. I find it very hard to sit still for 2 hours and watch a film, which is why I like to watch TV shows of like 20 minutes, 40 minutes and then pause, because I have ADD and I have a very hard time concentrating. But back to this book. This book is about a character called Catherine Morland who's obsessed with reading gothic romance novels. Catherine gets invited to her friend's house called Northanger Abbey, and this house turns out to be very creepy, and Catherine's imagination runs away with her. And apparently this is a very comical read, and I haven't really laughed at Jane Austen's novels. I liked Pride and Prejudice because of Mrs. Bennet, where she was constantly obsessing over marrying off her daughters, but I am very excited to find out everything about this book. I know this is not people's favourites, but I hope it maybe will be my favourite because I really love Emma, and no other Jane Austen book I have read has really interested me like Emma did, but I am hoping this one will make the difference, maybe. So these were the 9 books I'm planning on reading during October. Let me know down below if you have read any of the books I just mentioned and what did you think about them. What are you going to read in October? I would love to know. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!